Literally, it's not a big deal. It's my 4 favourites on Letterboxd. I can just change it. I'm making a big deal out of something that doesn't need to be a big deal. Anyway. Hi, I'm Florence Rose and welcome to my cozy corner of the internet. I've always loved stories, whether that be reading or movies or plays, literally everything, especially really comforting, cozy films. And although I love rewatching the same things over and over and over again, this year I found myself on a little mission to broaden my taste in films, which is what has brought me here. I wanted to start a little channel to share snippets of my life and what I'm watching, what I'm reading, what I'm doing, maybe a little bit about what it's like to be an actor and what I do outside of creating videos, and just share ways that I romanticize everything in my life pretty much. So if you love movies or reading or anything cozy and comfortable, then this is the space for you. Make yourself at home and welcome to my channel. There is no better way to get to know someone than to find out what their favourite films are. So I thought, what better way to introduce myself than to talk about my favourite films of all time and explain why I love them so much, more specifically my Letterboxd top 4. Starting off strong, we have Billy Elliot. Billy Elliot is one of my favourite films of all time. I love it so much. I watched it for the first time, I want to say about 2 years ago, and I instantly fell in love with it. It was a movie that I had on my watch list for a really long time and I just never got round to watching it, but as soon as I did not stop thinking about it. I think the story is so beautiful and heartwarming and the message is so strong and clear. I also think it is such a beautiful representation of how art is used to express yourself. Billy Elliot is a beautiful coming-of-age 2000s film set in the east of England during the miners' strikes. The film is centred around 11-year-old Billy Elliot, who is a working class boy who dreams of being a dancer and uses dance as a way to express himself. His dad has very negative stereotypes of male dancers and thinks that it is something he shouldn't be doing, is very against the idea. Jamie Bell plays Billy Elliot and Gary Lewis is his dad. They are both incredible, as well as Julie Walters, who plays his teacher. They are amazing. They are the heart and soul of this movie and it is so exceptional to watch. This film is extremely underrated. I wish so many more people had seen it. Billy Elliot covers so many different topics. It goes into the miners' strikes in England without going into too much detail. I think there is a perfect balance between themes in this movie. Billy also has a friend called Michael who he finds out is gay. There are such beautiful moments between the two of them, which are, honestly, I cry every single time. It is such an emotional story that I think deserves so much more love. I just love everything about it and I highly recommend you give it a watch. It has been in my top 4 ever since I watched it for the first time and I don't think it'll leave probably for a very long time. The next film in my top 4 is Whiplash. I adore Whiplash for so many reasons. The story behind the making of the actual film itself is really interesting. It was initially a short film which then got made into a feature and the shoot time was incredibly short. I think it was something like 12 days long that they took to film this movie. It is one of the most anxiety-inducing fast-paced films that I've ever seen. If you like shows like The Bear or something that makes your heart race a little bit, this is definitely the movie for you. Whiplash essentially follows Andrew, who is a drummer, as he goes to a very intense musical academy to continue his passion of drumming. His teacher is J.K. Simmons and he is so brilliant in this role. He's utterly terrifying. I think we've all had a teacher that scared us a little bit and pushed us a little bit too far, but this is next level and I think it encapsulates the slightly toxic side of ambition and drive and motivation, and it is just an incredible piece of cinema. It is shot so well. The last 10 minutes is just insane and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it away, but it is just so good. It is so good. I've only seen it a few times purely because I want to keep it perfect in my head, if that makes sense. I just think this is one of those films that's best left alone. So I don't want to watch it too many times. I love it. It's staying in my top 4, again, for a very long time. The next film that I currently have in my Letterboxd top 4 is Little Miss Sunshine. I adore Little Miss Sunshine. I have only watched it twice, and both times I loved it. I cried multiple times. It is just a gorgeous coming-of-age film. I love Steve Carell, and this is one of my favourite roles of his, as well as Beautiful Boy. I think there are some amazing performances in Little Miss Sunshine, and I think it is such a lovely story. There are so many moments that I will never forget, especially toward the end of the movie. One of my favourite scenes in this film is just a conversation between two people and they are talking about what life means and what it means to love and exist and to do what you love and follow your passions. And as someone who is a bit of a dreamer, I just love when people pursue their passions and do what they love, and I think it is such a gorgeous scene. It is a lovely movie that was on my watch list for a really long time, and again, I'm glad I watched it eventually. I think the first time I watched it was only 2 years ago now, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. The first time I ever watched 12 Angry Men was in psychology class at school, and I could not take my eyes off of the screen. 12 Angry Men basically encapsulates what it is to have one person that stands against everybody else, and how one person can make a difference despite not following the crowd. And I think it is such an incredible movie. It is literally just about 12 men who are all on a jury trying to come to a verdict. It basically just takes place in the one room, and it is incredible cinema. It is really well paced. It had my attention the entire time. It's not a long film, so it's a quick watch. I think it's a movie that everybody should watch once in their lifetime. I definitely need to give it a rewatch. It has been a few years since I've seen it last. But that just shows how effective it is. I still think about it literally every day, and it has been multiple years since I saw it last. So those are my current 4 favourite films on Letterboxd. But we have a dilemma because I want to change one of them to Some Like It Hot. I watched Some Like It Hot recently for the first time as a part of a series I'm doing on TikTok called My Top 4 Trials, where I'm watching celebrities' 4 favourite films from Letterboxd, and I immediately fell in love with this film. It is one of my favourite films of all time. It is hilarious. The performances are brilliant. Just the plot of the movie is amazing. It is one of my favourite films of all time, and I'm not a major comedy fan, so that's sort of saying a lot. I knew the second I finished watching it that it was going to be in my Letterboxd top 4, but I don't know which film it's going to take the place of, so that is where the dilemma comes into play. I'm leaning towards it taking the place of Little Miss Sunshine or 12 Angry Men. I think because I've not watched 12 Angry Men in so long, I think it could take the place of that one, but maybe then I need to give 12 Angry Men a rewatch before I change it. And I love Little Miss Sunshine so much. I don't know. Literally, it's not a big deal. It's my 4 favourites on Letterboxd. I can just change it. I'm making a big deal out of something that doesn't need to be a big deal. Anyway, I thought I would talk about some of my other favourite films that have been in my top 4 at some point in time, or I would like for them to be in there, or are very close to being in my 4 favourite films. We have The Holdovers, which, if you know me, you know I absolutely love The Holdovers. I'm a massive festive person. I love the holidays, and I love Christmas movies. In my mind, The Holdovers is an autumnal / Christmas movie. I watched it for the first time last year, but I have watched it maybe 6 or 7 times since. I love it so much. I think the performances are great. The shots are incredible. It emulates 1970s film, and I think it is so beautiful. It just feels cozy and what I would want my life to be shot like if it was made into a film, if that makes sense. Another film that was in my top 4 for a while is Past Lives. I really like Celine Song. I enjoyed Materialists when it came out, and I loved Past Lives. I've watched it multiple times, and I cry at the end every time. But not just crying, it's like actual physical sobbing. I think the story is so real and human and painful because of how real it is, if that makes sense. I love when a movie hurts. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, it's true. La La Land is one of my favourite films of all time. I've got a bit of a theme here of a lot of my favourite movies make me cry, and that is just extremely true with La La Land. Literally anything to do with acting I love to watch, but La La Land in particular just hurts. Like, it really hurts, and I love it, and I won't shut up about it. I'm sorry. This next film has solidly been one of my favourite films for so many years now, and there has not been a time I've watched it and I've been bored or not enjoyed it, and that is Interstellar. I've been fascinated with space ever since I was little. I was convinced I was going to be an astronomer. I don't want to be an astronomer. I love slightly abstract movies that make you think a little bit outside of the box, and Interstellar is definitely that. It makes me cry every single time at multiple points, specifically the scene where Cooper is watching the videos of his son and his daughter. It, even thinking about it makes me want to cry a little bit. Matthew McConaughey is so brilliant in that film. The score, the music, The music's incredible. My sister and I went to a Hans Zimmer string quartet play in a church in Oxford, and it was like the most otherworldly experience I've ever had in my life. I highly recommend going to see a live performance of Hans Zimmer's music if you ever can. It is insane and cemented my love for Interstellar even more, and Gladiator, and so many other films. I love reading dystopian books. I love watching dystopian movies. Anything fantasy dystopian is right up my alley, and this film is probably my favorite dystopian film, and it is The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. To me, The Hunger Games: Catching Fire is the perfect movie. Rarely ever do I think that a sequel is better than the original film, and even though I love The Hunger Games original movie, I think Catching Fire is just incredible. Everything about it is brilliant. I have seen it so many times, and if you've not watched The Hunger Games, definitely have a little Hunger Games marathon. I will never shut up about this movie, and whenever I find people who love it as much as I do, I am filled with so much joy, and I just want to talk about it because I love it so much. I love the whole Hunger Games franchise. I think it's insanely reflective of the real world that we live in. I have a Substack post on this exact topic, but about Sunrise on the Reaping, which I'm so excited for the release of, by the way. And I think the way they announced the cast was just incredible marketing. It was so brilliant. I feel like I could do a whole video talking about the Hunger Games, so if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'm reading the Hunger Games for the first time at the moment. Can't believe I've not read it before because I love to read, and dystopian and fantasy are my favourite genres, so I thought it was about time I get around to reading this. I'll let you know my thoughts. Those are my favourite films of all time. There are plenty more that I love and will definitely make this list. I would just be talking for hours and hours if that were the case, so I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you would like to see on this channel and in this space. I really hope you enjoyed watching. I'm really looking forward to introducing myself a bit more and getting to know you all a bit better. So I will see you next time with another video.